It's good, y'all. Welcome back to Niner Wire. I'm your host, Sam, and today we are back for more post-game analysis. Finally doing post-game analysis after a win, man. I mean, it's been week 7 since the last time we did that. Feels like an eternity, but, hey, man, we're back after a win this time. Close game, get the divisional win. Big win, too, man. I mean, we'll talk about what this win means and everything, but we're not out of this playoff conversation yet. Let's be real. Even though this team is depleted to hell, there's so many injuries all around, and everyone in our division has a better record than us. We're not out of this playoff race yet. This season's still alive, and I think there's a lot to break down during this game. It's just going to be me starting off. Jordan should be joining later, so he will hop on, talk about what he said, but he made some great points in pregame, so we're going to go through all of that here with me, with him. Let's just get right into it, but before we do that, make sure to follow me on Twitter at NinerWireSam. My Instagram is at NinerWire_YT. Post a lot of stuff there, a lot of sports stuff, everything, you name it. So make sure to follow me there. And also, guys, make sure to follow Jordan when he comes. His Twitter is at @splash_cousin. Make sure to follow him there as well. I uploaded a lot of the videos from pregame as well. So offense, defense, for both teams. And then you got key players and score predictions. So make sure to check those out, because that's what we're going to be basing this video on in this stream. And as always, if you have any questions or comments, make sure to leave them in the live chat. I already see we got a few right there. So, yeah, man, let's just get into it. And let's start with Antonio's comment right here. I mean, let's just talk about it. I know a lot of people say we're tanking. I'm not a person that if my team is doing bad, I want them to lose. I'm not that type of person. I'm the type of person that's always going to root for my team to win, whether we suck, whether we're good or bad. I don't know. But honestly, man, I don't think anyone should be mad about this. I mean, we beat a divisional opponent. We fucked up their playoff chances. That feels great right there. Not only that, like, you saw guys ball out today. You saw the true identity of this team. Even though this team's a shell of themselves, you saw the identity of the shell. And that's really what my biggest takeaway from this game is. And there's a lot to go talk about this game. And also, look at what Niner by Nature said right here. You can't tank in football. I mean, technically you can, but let's be real. You're going to get value in the first and second and third round, wherever you pick. So at the end of the day, it's not that bad. I mean, by the way, I'm making a video on Sam Darnold coming soon. That was the guy I tweeted about a few days ago who I really want on this team. You'll see why soon. But yeah, Sam Darnold's the guy I'm looking for. So, I mean, there's other guys we can get in the first round, which I'm hoping for. So, I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter about tanking or not tanking, I think. So we'll have to see what it is. But anyways, I just want to start off this. I know Jordan's not here right now. He should be coming soon. But let's start off with his defensive key to the game, which was the play of the safeties. And let's just start in the secondary and talk about their play, because they had one hell of a game, man. You know, you got Jimmy Ward just killing it out there, man. He forced that fumble. I think did he force one or two? I forget. I couldn't count, but he balled out today, man. That's exactly what we want to see right there. It's hard to pick out a guy in the secondary that did not ball out today, man. Jamar Taylor, this was just reported. They're fearing it's an ACL. I'm not surprised by that just by looking at the injury. So, yeah, man, I think it sucks because he's been balling out. It's going to be interesting who's going to play the nickel next week against Buffalo. We're probably going to talk about it later once Jordan joins the stream. But the nickel cornerback's going to be interesting because no K1, no Jamar Taylor. I mean, you might have to put Mosley there, maybe even the Kella Witherspoon, or maybe you go back to Harris Moore at safety and then move Jimmy Ward to nickel cornerback. There's going to be some very viable options at nickel cornerback, so that's going to be very interesting to watch against a Buffalo team that is just rolling right now. So that is definitely going to be a key game, a pivotal game in our schedule, really, because I mean, if this team wins this game, I think your playoff chances just went from 0 to 100 right there. Not necessarily 100, but 0 to 50. Let's just put it that way, because that game is going to be a crucial game. I mean, you got division game next week between the Rams and the Cardinals. The Seahawks need to play the Cardinals again. There's still a lot up for grabs in this NFC West. So there's a lot right there. As Callie says right here, forget the tank and BS. You play to win. Quitters are for losers. That's exactly what I love in this team. The grit and the grind of this team. That's what they showed today. I'm just hyped about that, man. So yeah, it's just looking good. Richard Sherman, I'm going to briefly touch on him. I know there's a lot of offensive line comments in the comments. I'm going to get to that in a sec because I have a lot to say about that. But Richard Sherman, what a return today. 7 tackles, led the team in tackles. He had a pick. He was locking up who he was covering. I think he was on Woods most of the time. Woods did, he did get a lot of targets, let's be real. But after that, like 7 receptions, 80 yards, 12 targets. It's still a good performance. Cooper Kupp, though, was quiet the entire game, man. And that's really, I think Verrett was covering him the most of the time. So shout out to Jason Verrett for that. But overall, the secondary balled out. And Tarvarius Moore, I'm going to say it again. I'm going to keep saying it throughout the year. Tarvarius Moore should be a starting safety. You can let Tart walk. You can trade Ward. Tarvarius Moore should be the starting safety of the 49ers in 2021. That is definitely one key takeaway that I have taken from this year, is that Tarvarius Moore is a baller. So, yeah, that's really all I got to say about the secondary. Now to all the offensive line comments. Let's start off with Beach Beluga right here. We don't need a quarterback. We need a healthy quarterback and a healthy offensive line. And I want to highlight the healthy offensive line. Yeah, you definitely need that because, the center has been just a carousel this year of people just rotating in and out. You're going to have to find that solid guy. But obviously, most of the comments in here are about Mike Mcglinchey. And let's just talk about Mike Mcglinchey real quick. The dude is trash. I refuse to say it throughout the year because we've seen what he can do. I don't think he can bring back. The dude is trash. The dude is the reason why I believe the Rams had, if I look at the stat sheet today, the Rams had 2 sacks on Nick Mullins. Mcglinchey is the reason for both of those sacks. And all the pressure that was coming there, most of the time it was Mcglinchey. Most of the time after Mullins, after there was a loss of yards on this team, Mcglinchey was on the ground. He wasn't doing shit, man. And that is just, you have to fix that. You've had so many opportunities to fix that. You haven't fixed that. And that's one of the reasons, this is one of the reasons why I want Sam Darnold, is because instead of taking a quarterback with the pick, which I'm fine with perfectly. I'm perfectly fine with. You can take a guy in the draft. Alex Leatherwood's the guy I'm talking about right now. That guy can play guard. He can play tackle. You can really put him in anywhere. If Mcglinchey's not improving next year, put him at right tackle. If he is improving, he's good, then put him at right guard. Maybe move Daniel Brunskill to center because I don't know what Richard's situation is. So we'll have to see right now. Penei Sewell, I highly doubt we're getting at this point. He's probably going to be a top 3-5 pick. But, if somehow he fell to us, then you have to take that all day. I think Matt Miller said, I know you guys all hate Matt Miller, but he said that that's the highest ranked offensive tackle he's ever graded. So, that's really all. It just goes to show how good he is. But Alex Leatherwood, I want to make a video about him. If we get Sam Darnold, I'm going to make a video about him. If it looks like we're going to the draft to take our quarterback, I'll go with him. But, yeah, man, he has just been a turntable this year. It's ridiculous how people are just getting by him. The Mike Mcglinchey season here. Let me just show the Mike Mcglinchey season highlights really quickly. Thank you. Okay, those are the Mike Mcglinchey season highlights. There's nothing else. He's just been god awful this year. And I know I've been saying it's the right side of the line because maybe it's someone else affecting him. It's Mcglinchey. By the way, let's talk about the right side of the offensive line. Colton McKivitz struggled at first against Aaron Donald. He struggled. After that, he started to pick it up, do well. I'm not going to say it was the best game from him, but it was still a great game, especially from a 5th-round pick, making his starting debut, I should say. It's a great game for him, and I'm glad to see that because right guard, that could be another position we could address in the draft, as I said, with Alex Leatherwood. Sam Cosmi, the tackle out of Texas, another guy I'm looking at, but I want Leatherwood more because of the versatility and the pass blocking. So, yeah, man, you definitely have to go with a pass block. You don't necessarily have to do that. You just have to get a guy who's good at pass blocking because Mcglinchey cannot pass block for shit. So, it's just, yeah, it just sucks. And I definitely blame this on Joe Staley leaving the team because his confidence level has gone from 100 to 0, and that all happened when he left the team. So, yeah, man, it's just tough. Niner by Nature 88 says, what is his trade value right now? let's talk about that real quick, because personally, I'm not trading him. I'm keeping him for another year. I do believe this guy has potential. We've seen it. There's a reason he was named captain at the beginning of the season. We've seen what he can do. This dude can be good. He's obviously struggling right now. I'm not giving up on him yet, but he's trash. Like, I have very low expectations for him. Usually I had high expectations. Now I have very low expectations, and I'm not really expecting much out of him throughout the year. I mean, he's been trash this year, probably going to stay trash. Right now, I think the best option is if you decline his fifth year option. That's the best reason. That's the thing you have to do. Decline his fifth year option. If he balls out, then you re-sign him. If he doesn't, then he moves on somewhere else. You draft a guy, whether it's Leatherwood, whether it's a guy in the second round. I need to do more research on my guys, obviously, but personally, I'm not trading Mcglinchey unless someone gives us a king's ransom for him. Then I am absolutely taking that. But as of now, I'm not 100% giving up on him. He is looking pretty trash this year, so we'll have to see what happens there. As for the other offensive linemen, I mean, they weren't mentioned at all in the game. So as I say, if you're not mentioning your offensive linemen, you're doing good. So that's really all I got to say right now. Okay, so we talked about the secondary. We'll probably touch up more about that when Jordan comes. We talked about the offensive line. Let's stick with the offense and let's go over we kind of did that. Let's just touch up on the offensive line one more time. My offensive key of the game was protect Nick Mullins at all costs. And the rest, and 4 of the 5 guys did that. Mcglinchey did not. We won the game. So it is what it is. But as I keep saying, every week, every game, every day, Mcglinchey has to step it up and do his job, man. It's just getting to a point where it's ridiculous. Like, he's not startable at this point, in my opinion. Like, they kind of have to start him because they don't really have anyone else. I mean, you could, but he hasn't looked startable at all so far, which is just not very good right now. All right, notifications. Let's look it up right now. They're just talking about whether the teams are. They're just talking about whether the teams are when their team's moving. What's going on after that? But apparently they're upset about how Santa Clara County has handled the coronavirus. But it is what it is. But we'll have to find a new location. We're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the game. So, yeah, man. Let's stick with the Niners defense since we were just talking about that. I mean, we touched up on both the points, man. We said pass defense, and I mainly highlighted the secondary. Those were my keys to the game. Protect Mullins and pass defense. And we touched on the secondary. We touched on the offensive line. We're going to touch more on the secondary when Jordan comes because I think he has a lot more to say about that. So hopefully he'll come soon. We'll see about that. But he should be on the way anytime. So, yeah, man. All right, let's just go through the other positions. Let's just start off with Nick Mullins. And, I mean, but this game, here, let me pull up the tweet that I tweeted this out right after the game ended. Let me pull it up really quickly. Give me 1 second. Okay, here we go. The fact that we're one game out of the playoff spot and 2 out of the division with this team is remarkable. Will it happen? Probably not. But our playoff hopes are not. Or what the hell did I write there? I think I made a typo. But playoffs are not. Playoffs are not. This team's Super Bowl window could be open for a while. Getting the right guys, particularly QB, is going to be essential. And let's be real, Nick Mullins isn't that guy. If it's not obvious by now, he is not that guy. So I mean. His stats today, I mean, on paper, his stats look okay, but he just doesn't, he cannot, I don't see him succeeding in the NFL. So let's just do, I mean, he hasn't been doing that well, man. And I mean, he's a backup quarterback. There's not much to expect out of him, but he's not going to be the starting quarterback. It's either going to be Garoppolo or you're picking someone else up, depending on how the team sees the situation. So yeah, Nick Mullins, meh. Nothing really we can do about it. So, yeah, I see a lot of defensive line comments. Let's talk about that right now. First of all, Javon Kinlaw, big man pick 6. I've been waiting for that for so long. A defensive line pick 6. We saw it both last year. A defensive tackle pick 6, man. That's how you do it, man. That's exactly what you like to see right there. Defense. I'm still waiting on the DJ Jones pick 6. I've been waiting on that for a while, man. I hope that happens. But Javon Kinlaw, he is a legit player, man. And I know I was kind of upset that we picked him because I kind of wanted CeeDee Lamb. I kind of wanted Jerry Jeudy. one of those guys. But from what it's looking like, Javon Kinlaw has been balling out. This dude could be a perennial defensive tackle. I'll say it right now. Throw the hands up. This dude could be a very great player in the NFL. Probably will at this point. So we'll have to see. Plus, we got Ayuk out of that and like had a later pick for that. Didn't have to give up much for that. So the way we handle the draft is looking a lot better day by day. So Javon Kinlaw, man, completely balling out right there. And let's talk about the other guy who's just been balling out this entire season, Kerry Hyder, man. Kerry Hyder has been absolutely balling out every game, game in, game out. He has been a diamond in the rough signing. And today, balling out again. I think he had 1 sack today. If I look at the stat sheet, yeah, he had 4 total tackles, 3 solo, 2 sacks. My bad. 2 sacks. The only 2 sacks on this team today. So Kerry Hyder with the 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, which were those sacks, obviously. But Kerry Hyder is a baller, man. And I just love to see that right there. And looking at Niner by Nature 88's comment. So I actually tweeted about this today. There was a debate I saw, I believe, I forget who tweeted out. Somebody tweeted out, do the 49ers re-sign Kerry Hyder? And I said no, which is going to surprise some of you. But here's my reasoning right now, is that my reasoning right now for Kerry Hyder not re-signing is, let's be real. He was a diamond in the rough, did not do well when he was not with Chris Kuceric. When he was with Chris Kuceric in Detroit, he did well. When he's with Chris Kuceric now in San Francisco, he's balling out. When he in that little stint where Chris Kuceric was not with him, his stats were not that good at all, man. Like he made a very little impact. I believe it was on Dallas and a part of Detroit. Maybe I don't know how long Kuceric was there, but definitely on Dallas, he didn't make that much impact. And he's playing right now. Like, we're gonna have to pay him a fair amount of money. And I would rather let some other team overpay him because I don't think they're going to get the production that we're hoping to get from him. And then, so just wait it out, see who pays him, and then pay him. If no one's giving anything, then you pay him a cheap contract. But if people are overpaying him, you let him go and you pick up someone else who is, whether it's a speed rusher in the draft or whether it's even like, I don't know, another guy under Kuceric's system. We might get D4 back. I don't know the extent of that injury. We haven't heard anything about him. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting right there to see what happens with Kerry Hyder. I don't really see us re-signing him, but we'll see what happens there. But Kerry Hyder, man, absolutely balling out. And I'm excited to see what he can do throughout the year. He's been one of the biggest bright spots for this team, man. So glad to see right there, Kerry Hyder. Absolutely balling out. And like what Bean says right here, the question is, how much does Hyder want? He'll likely be a backup and have had a breakout year. He's going to want a long-term contract. You're completely right about that, man. And yeah, you got to pay him. Like, you can't pay him that much. You can't pay him necessarily starting money for this team because that might not even happen. You got to pay him like a good contract that will help him out right there. I don't know. I don't know what like the extent is. Maybe like 3-4 million. I don't know. I don't know. I don't do the contract stuff, so I have no clue. But I feel like there's going to be a team that's going to pay him a lot more. Maybe like 9 million. I don't know. We'll have to see right there. Also, Kerry Hyder and a healthy Ronald Blair. Is there really that much of? I would say there's not that much of a difference right there. I mean, you could just bring Ronald Blair back, who, by the way, has not played at all this year. So he was in a contract year last year. He's going to be in a contract year this year, and we can get him for pretty cheap too. So Ronald Blair could also be that guy that we go after. So Kerry Hyder, I don't really know what happens right there with Kerry Hyder. See what happens, but yeah, man, he has just been balling out for us, right there, and I'm always glad to see it right there. As for the other defensive lineman, Eric Armstead, I want to highlight Eric Armstead real quick. Shout out to him. He had a great game today. This is exactly what we needed to see. This is where I feel like he played that number 2 role, number 3 role, behind Hyder and behind Javon Kinlaw. That's exactly what you do right there. I mean, that's exactly how we need him to play. And we need the other teams to think that he's that number 2 and 3 guy, because then he's going to get more action. If you look at his stats, the stat sheet might not show it. No tackles for loss, 3 solo sacks. He had a lot of pressures today, though. So I was really glad to see that from Eric Armstead. That's exactly what we needed to see from him. Something like that right there. So great game from Eric Armstead. As for the other defensive linemen, Looking at the other stats, you got Kevin Gibbons. Shout out to Kevin Gibbons for that sack, or it was a tackle for loss or a sack. I don't know, but balling out, man. Kevin Gibbons, another guy, kind of a diamond in the rough guy, balling out right there. Undrafted free agent last year, on the roster this year. He's been doing a phenomenal job, and I'm so glad to see that, especially when you got like now with no Buckner, no DJ Jones, you get Kevin Gibbons, you get guys like Kerry Hyder who have been balling out, man. So it's always good to see right there. So yeah, Kevin Gibbons, Kerry Hyder, always good to see that right there. I see there's a lot of quarterback talk, and I honestly think I should probably do another stream about quarterbacks because, I mean, that's really all everyone's talking about. Like, we win this game. Oh, shit, who's our next quarterback going to be? We lose. Who's our next quarterback going to be? It's just like that right there. I don't know who – I mean, I don't really know. We'll have to see what happens. But I am making a video on Sam Darnold. Might come out this week. Might come out next week. I don't necessarily know. Maybe it comes out at the end of the season. I don't know. But all I know is that for sure I am going to make a video on Sam Darnold, tell him, saying why I want him to be a 49er and why it makes sense for this team. So I want y'all to stay tuned for that. I don't know what's going to be in the video yet, but all I know for sure is that I am making a Sam Darnold video. So stay tuned for that. All right, we're bouncing around the walls right now. Let's just finish up with the defense, linebacking core. And the linebacking core, honestly, kind of silent today. Fred Warner, I mean, he didn't do much there. I mean, 6 tackles, 6 total tackles, 4 solo tackles. I mean, he didn't make as noticeable of an impact on the field. And I'm not going to judge him for that because the dude's a baller. The dude's a pro bowler, all pro Fred, as we like to call him. So, I mean, I'm not going to judge him from that too much, but it is what it is. You don't necessarily need to make an impact every game. Also, they did not run the ball that much. They really went to the pass defense. That's why I said our key to the game is pass defense. And we did that pretty damn well, if you ask me. Great game planning by Kyle Shanahan and by Robert Saleh. By the way, Robert Saleh, man, at the beginning of the season, when everyone started to go down, I kept like calling out Robert Saleh for not adjusting to the playbook, not making the adjustments needed. And now I feel like he's really doing that. So shout out to Robert Saleh. And as Niner by Nature 88 says, do we lose Saleh and Peters to the Lions? That's going to be a very interesting question because I do think teams are going to want Robert Saleh. Personally, honestly, I don't know if he's going to be a good head coach. I'm kind of conflicted on that. I have no clue how he's going to do. I don't know why. I feel like I have some negative feelings about him being a head coach. But whether or not, if we keep him, I'm fine with that. If we lose him, I'm probably fine with that because I think we can find someone else who can do as good of a job as Robert Saleh, whether it's Chris Kusarik. I will have to see what happens after that. So, yeah, Robert Saleh, I do think if he gets the Lions job, congrats to him. I don't know if that's going to affect us anyway. We'll have to see on the field next season. But, yeah, man, Robert Saleh, he's making the adjustments, and that's all we really need to see. And then as for the other guys, Dre Greenlaw in the linebacking core, Dre Greenlaw had 7 tackles as well, tied 1 tackle for loss. He had a pretty good game, if you ask me. I mean, the linebackers, as I said, didn't really make that noticeable of an impact, but it is what it is. We won the game. That's all that matters at the end of the day. A win is a win is a win is a win is a win. So there you go. And what was really interesting is how we ran the set. I believe on the starting lineups, they showed that it was Fred Warner, Dre Greenlaw, and Marcel Harris at linebacker, not Azeez Al-Shaair. Oh, wait, Azeez Al-Shaair, I think it was on COVID list. My bad. I'm an idiot. But they put Marcel Harris on the starting linebacker, which is really interesting to see because, I mean, I didn't know that he was that versatile. I always thought he was like this guy who can play strong safety, free safety. I didn't know they can put him in that linebacker position. Maybe it was just the set they were running. They ran on nickel set often to this game, so 4-2-5. I bet that was how they're running. They just had to put another guy at the linebacker spot for the Fox guys right there. So, yeah, man, very, very interesting to see him there. So, shout out to Marcel Harris and all the linebackers today. Great game from everyone. Lots of comments in here, man. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. I'm obviously still going. I usually say it at the end, but y'all are the real MVPs. I know my views have been very down since we've been losing. So, obviously, when we win, man, these guys just show up. Always good to see you guys show up, do everything. I know after losing, it's always hard to make these post-game analysis videos, but after winning, man, Always so fun. Always great reading the comments. So, yeah, man, we'll have to see what happens. Again, lots of quarterback talk, lots of taking talk. I'm probably just going to move on from that because I've talked about that a lot in the video, kind of at the beginning, kind of when I talked about Mullins. Mainly at the beginning, I kind of talked about that a little bit. So I'm going to move on from that, continue on with the stream. Let's get through everything. Hope that Jordan comes. I don't know what his status is. Might have sent me a message that I didn't read. Okay, it doesn't look like he's coming. So, all right, it's all good. So, I guess I'm riding solo right now. But hey, man, we're all good. Jordan, we'll get him back on another time. Again, guys, make sure to follow Jordan at @splash_cousin. He's tweeting a lot of Niners stuff. Great guy to have on this show. So make sure to follow him there. I know he tried to make it. He got stuff going on, couldn't do it. So it is what it is. So give me 1 second. All right, we're good. Never mind. Just heard something that I had to check on. So it is what it is. Okay. We've been going back and forth, as I said. We covered all the defense. We covered quarterback, offensive line. Let's just finish up with the running back in the receiving game. And starting with the run game, I mean, Mostert obviously returned today, one of my key players to this game. And looking at his stats, man, I mean, he did it. 16 carries, 43 yards, and a touchdown. I mean, they didn't really do much today. I'm going to be real. Like, yes, Raheem Mostert got that touchdown. Don't let that baffle you. 16 carries, 43 yards. Wilson had 12 carries, 43 yards. McKinnon, 3 carries, 21 yards. Juszczyk, 2 carries, 8 yards. That's not really the game you want to have, especially when you're a run-first team. And the Rams' defensive key to the game was stopping the run. So, yeah, man. I mean, they did a pretty good job of that. Let's be real. I said Mullins has been struggling in the passing game. He has. It's still a low-scoring game. This was really a defensive game that really helped us win this game. The defense holding the Rams, the defense won this game for us. Let's be real. The offense didn't have that much of the offense didn't really have as much firepower as usual. A bit more than I expected, but still, this game was won by the defense. So, yeah. And then for the run game, as I said, a bit underwhelming. Got to step it up next game, especially against a Buffalo team whose run defense is not that great. So if they can get on that, that will be great to see. Okay, now to the Debo talk. I know there's a lot of comments. Jaime commented about it. Niner by Nature commented about it. Looking at the stats, man, it's just ridiculous how well of a job Debo Samuel did. 11 receptions, 133 yards. They don't have him on any rushes, which is kind of weird. He might have not rushed at all. They might have just called them all receptions. But Debo Samuel, man, I told you guys the offense was going to run through Debo Samuel. It did just that. I told you guys to pick him up on your fantasy teams, start him on your fantasy teams, DFS, you name it. If you did that, shout out to you. We'll go through fantasy later, but my normal team's kind of fucked, even though I started him. So it is what it is. And my DFS lost by 3 points out of money. So that kind of sucks, but it is what it is. Anyways, Debo Samuel, man, glad to see him balling out, doing everything that he can, balling out for this team. I mean, when him and Ayuk are on the field, which we have not seen much, it's going to be scary for defenses to cover both of those guys because really they could just see a lot of people. Or not that. Sorry. There's gonna be a lot of plays that can go to Debo or Ayuk. It's gonna be a mix, and teams are not gonna know how to cover it. It's gonna be a very scary sight when both of those guys are on the field. So Debo, Ayuk, man, it's gonna be interesting. And maybe even you get a quarterback like Sam Darnold. We're back to the quarterback talk, like Sam Darnold, like Zach Wilson, like Trey Lance. One of those three guys, maybe. You get one of those guys and you connect them with Debo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk, it could be a very scary sight. So that's what I'm hoping for right now. Antonio, I know you've been talking about Matthew Stafford. I mean, I just don't think the Lions are going to give him up. I mean, yes, they fired Patricia. We'll have to see what happens, but I'd rather get in a young guy who can help us in the future, keep the Super Bowl window open for a bit longer. So that's what I'm going for right now. So, yeah, I'm looking at Sam Darnold, or if we don't get him, go for the draft. So we'll have to see what happens there. But Debo and Ayuk are going to be a very scary tandem once they're both healthy. Otherwise, in the receiving game, not much. Kendrick Bourne, 3 receptions, 34 yards. Richie James only had 1 reception. Juszczyk 2 receptions. Okay, so we had 24 total receptions. Half of them went to Deebo Samuel. 11 went to Deebo Samuel. So that's almost half of them went to Deebo Samuel. A third of the targets went to Deebo Samuel, or over a third of the targets went to Deebo Samuel. I don't know why I'm misreading everything, but yeah, man, Deebo Samuel, man, has been balling out, and I'm always glad to see that. The one concern I do have about the passing game today, Jordan Reed, 2 receptions, 18 yards on 6 targets. The connection between him and Mullins was just not there. It was not there at all, man. And I mean, we'll have to see what happens, but they got to figure that out because he targeted him often. It looked like he was open. We saw that time. I forgot when it was. I think it was on his first target or something, where Mullins just like slams his helmet or like takes off the chin strap. Furious, Reed's furious. There just seemed to be a misconnection between the two. A lot of miscommunication. So let's hope that gets figured out. But other than that, man, great game from Deebo Samuel. The other guys, I mean, I didn't really. What do you expect? I said the offense was going to run through Deebo. It did just that. So not much to say about that other than Deebo Samuel is a motherfucking baller. So yeah, man. All right, let's just go over everything else that I highlighted in the keys to the game. So Niners offense, I said protect Mullins at all costs. They did that. Pass defense for the defense, they did that. Rams defense, they stopped the run pretty well. The Rams offense just could not keep the ball moving, and that's what killed their game today. Because I mean, the pass game just killed them, man. Our pass defense just absolutely torched them today. Let's be real. So yeah, man. It is what it is for the Rams. They're still a legit team. Don't get me wrong. Yes, we own this team. Yes, they're still a playoff team. And yes, this team could be very much a threat in the playoffs. But we'll have to see what happens with them. But anyways, great game from us. Great win. And then looking at the key players, you got Nick Mullins, Raheem Mostert. I mean, those two didn't really do much. I'm gonna be real. Those two really didn't do too much. Deebo Samuel was the key player I had. Balled out. As I said, as Can't Guard Kittle says, Deebo is so good. I mean, that's self-explanatory at this point. So, yeah. Right side of the line, McKivitz really stepped it up. Mcglinchey, I talked a lot about him at the beginning. Did not step it up at all. Kinlaw said he could develop after what happened last game. He did just that. And then the cornerback play, I don't really need to say much about that. The cornerback play, pass defense, won us this game today. And then as for the Rams, I said Kupp, Woods, Donald, Ramsey. All 4 of those guys, besides Kupp, 3 of the 4 guys did pretty good. We did not target Ramsey that much this game, which I think was part of our game plan. So, yeah, for sure. 3 first-rounders for Deshaun Watson. I'm not going after Deshaun Watson. Frankly, I don't see why the Texans would give him up. They're not a rebuilding team. I'm gonna say that right now. The Texans are not rebuilding. And they really just need a few more pieces. Yes, Bill O'Brien fucked them over, but they just need a few more pieces. They are not rebuilding. Don't get me wrong. They're not trading Deshaun Watson. I refuse to believe that the Texans are trading Deshaun Watson. At this point, I refuse to believe that. So yeah, and I would not 3 first-rounder. That's a lot. Like, why not just get Sam Darnold for a 3rd? Why not just take Zach Wilson in the 1st round? Like I feel like Sam Darnold really. I'm not even gonna talk about Sam Darnold anymore. I'll make the video on it. You guys get to see the video when it comes out, probably next week or this week. We'll have to see how my schedule plays, but once the video comes out, you'll see why I really want Sam Darnold on this team. So yeah. All right, let's wrap this up with some fantasy stuff. Give me 1 second. Let's just check notifications real quick. Any updates from the press conference? Okay, so Richard Sherman says you gotta give Sal a lot of credit, and yeah, I'm with him on that. Even though I've been bashing Sal throughout the beginning of the year, he has stepped it up. He has been balling out, and he's not the one balling out, but he's been getting a lot smarter throughout the year, and that's why a lot of people want him as their defensive. Not their defensive coordinator, their head coach, and I think that very much could happen. But frankly, I mean, if we lose him, I do think he is easily replaceable. So he's not this once in a generation defensive coordinator. So I definitely think he can be replaceable, but we'll have to see what happens right there. So yeah, for sure. All right, let's look at fantasy really quickly all the 49ers players today. I got rid of my all 49ers team. I kind of just added players that, because you can now just, they switched it up in ESPN where you can search for what team they're on, which is really nice, helps me out a lot. So let's just look at all the 49ers players today. Leading the team in points was Deebo Samuel by a large margin, 24.3. This is in a 1-point PPR league, by the way. So, yeah, man. Deebo Samuel, as I said, balled out. Offense would run through him. It absolutely did. Okay. Wait, hold on. The score was not, they sorted by projection. Okay. So, what he didn't lead by a long shot. 24.3 for Deebo Samuel. Niners D, the Kinlaw pick six helped out a lot. 17 points for them. Robbie Gould, 13 points. Raheem Mostert, 10.3. Mullins, 8.8, 8.08. Not the best performance from a quarterback, obviously. Bourne, 6.4. Juszczyk, 5.2. McKinnon, 5.2 as well. Richard James with 3.9. Jordan Reed, 3.8. Jeff Wilson, 2.3. Ross Dwelly with 1.3. And then everyone else had 0. Whoever played, whoever didn't play, I don't know. No negative points this week, so we'll have to see what happens there. But anyways, guys, let's just look at what we got next week. We got Monday night against Buffalo. And as I said at the beginning of the stream, this could be a very pivotal game. I know there's a lot of comments that we're tanking. And I know there's a fair amount of comments that are saying maybe we can get a playoff spot. This game's going to determine whether or not how we're going to go forward throughout this year. Because if Buffalo claps us, there is no chance we're making the playoffs or doing anything in the playoffs, frankly. Frankly, I don't think we're going to do anything in the playoffs. I don't think we're going to go on a Super Bowl run this year. Could we make the playoffs? Yes. I don't think it will happen at this point because considering our schedule. I mean, actually, not after this game, our schedule is not that bad. You got Buffalo, you got the Washington, you got Dallas, and then you got 2 division games. The division games, I don't expect us winning, but we'll see. We'll have to see what happens. But if we win this Buffalo game, I was about to say that, Niner by nature. If we win this Buffalo game, we could be on our way to the playoffs or some big things. And also, if we win this Buffalo game, I actually really want to win this Buffalo game. And sorry, I just froze for a sec. We're good right now. Okay, I kind of want to win this Buffalo game, not just to get the win, not just to brag with my friend Nate, who, by the way, I'm going to try to get on the next pregame with another guy. So you'll see opposing fans on the pregame. Hopefully, we'll have to see what happens there. But if we win this Buffalo game, we have a legit shot at making the playoffs. Yeah, we'll be 500, but I think we'll still have that legit shot at making the playoffs. We could go 10-6. We'll have to see about that. And Jimmy Garoppolo will be back after that. And that's exactly where Jimmy Garoppolo is going to have to prove that he can be the franchise quarterback. That it wasn't that it was the injury that was lingering on that was affecting his play. He has to prove that he can be the franchise quarterback. Because I mean, I'm not giving up on Garoppolo. Even though I don't think Kyle Shanahan trusts him, I do think they can regain that trust, and we'll have to see what happens in these next few games. But if we win the Buffalo game, there's going to be a large ripple effect. A win or lose the Buffalo game, I should say. I mean, yeah, mainly win, actually, but there's going to be a large ripple effect whether or not we win or lose this game from the quarterback situation, from the playoff situation, from a divisional standpoint. There's going to be some major implications with this Buffalo game. So that will be very, very interesting to look after in this Buffalo game. But Monday Night Football, man, first Monday night game of the year. I'm hyped for that. That should be a very fun game to watch against a legit, I would say, Super Bowl contender. Honestly, Buffalo could be a Super Bowl contender. Are they going to get past Kansas City and Pittsburgh? Probably not, but don't count out Buffalo, man. Just don't count them out just yet. So big game Monday night. Looking forward to it. Hopefully we can keep up this performance. Hopefully we can ball out, and hopefully we can do something good throughout the year, man. So big game, big everything, big stakes, you name it. Great win today, though, and that's all we came here to talk about. Great win today, beating the division opponent, sweeping the season series, owning this team. We took ownership away from Stan Kroenke, so there you go. All right, guys, I'm going to end the stream right there. Thank you all so much for watching. I know we got a lot of views here, lots of comments. Thank you all so much for commenting on everything. I always enjoy when you guys comment. It brings up a lot more discussion points. Whenever we win, man, it's always fun to do these, especially with a lot of people here. Most of the time when people are here, it's because we won. Just got to get those faithful people back when we lose. So There's always a lot to talk about whether we win or lose. So make sure to subscribe. Make sure to follow me on Twitter at NinerWireSam. I don't really use Instagram that much, but you guys can follow me there too. Sometimes I'll post, sometimes I won't. But yeah, man, I'll just tweet at me, DM me, anything, man. So thank you so much all for watching. And wait, hold on. Sorry, I'm just trying to find one. There was one comment I want to pull up at the beginning. As Callie said at the very beginning, Sam, my brother, let's fucking go. Great way to end the stream right there. Anyways, guys, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all next time. Go Niners.